to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you and welcome. Kathy, if you can give us a roll call, please.
All right, Saban. Present. Schreiber.
Here.
Bergbauer.
Here.
Galogly.
Here.
Dustin.
Here.
Rhodes.
Here.
Bartleson. Here. Coretta.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, I see Police Chaplain Bill Carroll's here in the house to open us in prayer.
Please pray with me. Dear God, tonight we pray the words of Joshua. Have I not commanded you, be strong and courageous? Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And tonight, God, I ask for courage and strength for these city leaders, courage to strive for truth, strength to fulfill their duties for those they swore to represent. And we pray for the wisdom to know your will and to follow you in the ways of justice and righteousness. In your name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Bill.
Bless you guys.
All right, me friends. So tonight we're going to start off with City Council. So starting off with the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to have one?
So moved.
All right, Joanne and Renee, all in favor of that?
Aye.
All right, so tonight's consent agenda is the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from April 21st, our regular City Council meeting minutes from April 21st, payroll period ending April 18th, our 2020 budget amendment number 2, and the purchase of the 2021 Ford F-250 pickup truck. So looking for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, Larry, Catherine, we'll have a roll call.
You got it. Saban.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Duskin.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Coretta.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next on the agenda is bills. So I'm looking for a motion to pass our bills.
I'll second.
All right, Renee and Larry, they want to pay the bills. All right, any questions, concerns? All right, can I have a roll call, please?
You got it. Saban.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
I abstain because the city of Lockport is paying my employer.
Duskin.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Coretta.
Yes.
Motion passes.
So, Jay, are you going to stay all the way down there when we change again? And
get to come right next
all right, that's good, because I miss your voice in my ear.
I'll be right there for you.
You'll be right here.
You're not getting rid of me for 2 more years.
Good, it's good. All right, next thing on the agenda is the amendment to the agreement with Waste Management for the extra $1.42 for the all the added.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Members of the council and the mayor, at your door is an additional service that we could do with waste management contract. This would be amending our original 7-year extension. They could start this as early as June this year, and it would be another $1.42 per account to utilize this service. That would be to be able to pick up household products, recycling, chemicals. There's a laundry list of items that they've done. I did share an email with you all last week after, I think, I'm looking for JR, that has, Romeoville just gave us some stats that they had in their first year, and that they collected over 100,000 pounds of these hazardous wastes and electronics, and they were able to recycle like 98% of it, so that's good. You know, they had about a 15% participation rate, but again, the contract that the Waste Management has with all the other municipalities is that it's like all in or all out, right? So this would affect every account in Lockport, and certainly, I know Ella from Waste Management, I don't believe could be here this evening, but I'm prepared to answer any questions or take any comments before you vote.
Well, let me ask for a motion to approve.
Motion.
All right, Mark and Christina, do you guys have any questions or thoughts on this?
I'm just letting people know I'm voting against this. I believe, just in crude math, based on the 15% participation, so I just wanted to verify that that is correct, 15% for Romeoville. If we take the $1.42 times 12 months, you're looking at $17 a year for our residents. Let's just say we have, I know this is not our number, but just use 100 for crude math. So we take $17 times 100, we come up with $1,700. Now, I was also told at the last meeting that when you go to if we wanted this service somewhere else, she said we'd pay up to like $75. I've never even heard of that, but that's what I was told. Actually, I looked into Naperville. Naperville does this for free. The only thing they don't take is batteries and syringes. So if you take the 15 people that might use it here times 75, which is a very high number, you're looking at $1,125. I know that, like I said, the math isn't right for the size of the city, but it is a 35% difference. And I think we're paying way too much for a service that's not going to be used by that many people in Lockport. So I I think it's a good idea, but I think it's a good part-time service. And I think it needs to be changed or charged as a part-time service. So I think Lockport should say no until Waste Management figures out a way to make this not an all-in project. So those are my 2 cents.
All right, thanks, JR. Anybody else have any thoughts? All right.
I was going to say, I agree with JR in the sense that for the amount of time we'll use those services, I've taken a TV to Public Works to drop it off. I've taken the paint to the other places that have drop-offs when we need it, and the same thing with tires. If we had leftover tires, I had taken them before to one of the car dealerships, they'll take them. So, I mean, NTB used to take them when they were here. And so I've used all the different services to drop them off, and I haven't had a problem getting rid of the stuff if I don't need it. Thank you.
But the problem is, if
Well,
you go...
are you done?
I'm sorry.
Okay, please.
He said thank you. So.
Okay.
The problem is that for the drop-off for the TVs and all that stuff, there's a limited time, it's a window. It's from, I think, 6 a.m. until 11, and it's only on Tuesdays and Fridays. The paint, you can drop it off at the Ace, but they do charge you. Then there's things like, chemicals and stuff like that. You have to go all the way out to Naperville, and they only do it on Saturdays. So if you're trying to be environmentally conscious about all of this, it's wasting so much of your time and your money driving out to Naperville or scheduling time off on a Tuesday or a Friday. So that's why in the whole scheme of not just about me, but about the whole city and each, making it a little bit more cleaner for everybody. That's $17 a year.
And this, I'm sorry, this contract could be canceled after 1 year.
Yes, you have the provision, as I mentioned, it's all in or all out, and so if we don't feel the participation is good, and we can give them a 30-day notice to opt out each year. And then, I have heard other communities say that they wish Waste Management had done it a little bit differently, but they've been doing this for many communities for many years now. We did look at this once when we did the contract extension back then, and the price has gone up about 20 cents from a few years ago. So, and again, that $1.42 will go up at the same rate as the contract does every year at 2.5%. After the first 18 months. So they're kind of locking us in for a year and a half, the rest of this year and next year, before any increase happens on the $1.42.
Okay.
So Ben, can you remind me, like, you can't just stick it at the curb every garbage day. You have to call in for this.
Yeah, you make an appointment, you get a packet. I think we had the packets handed out at the last meeting, and they get a bag, and you can put all those different types of things in there and put it on your front porch and call it in. And we've heard pickup dates as fast as a couple of days. It could take a couple of weeks. It just depends on the scheduling and the amount of calls they have. The people that use it love it. The people that don't, right? So it's just, I understand the analysis of a cost-benefit, situation for it, but.
It's too bad it can't be as people need it. They pay that $17. To have it where everyone has to pay into it.
Right.
I don't know that I can back that up.
There's a cost associated with recycling, right? And Waste Management is a for-profit company, but they also have a cost to get rid of these materials that I think they're trying to cover as well. I'm sure they're making their profit margin as well, but like I said, the Waste Management reps here, I don't want to sell for them. It's entirely up to the council, so.
All right, so but conceivably, we could pass this, and it does it for the year. We do a massive marketing push that says, listen, for $17, you can clean out your flipping garage this year, right? But you got to, call in, you got to put it on the end of the curb, but we got a year to do it. It's going to cost $17 to finally get rid of all that garbage. and then we cancel it. And that's, I mean, so that conceivably, that's something that could happen, if we wanted to go about it that
18
way.
months from now, 3 years from now, if you feel like, some people, I forget who mentioned at the last meeting, that you may use it right away, and then you may not use it again for 5 years, right? So it depends, but then other people might be using it. So, my guess is that capture rate will continue to go up slightly, but I don't think we'll ever have like 80% participation, and I think if you get to 20%, you're doing pretty good.
But no matter, but if it passes, whether it stays or you do it for a year, we will need to be, I'm guessing the onus is on us to educate the public.
Yes, well, they'll put out flyers with the customer list as well, and we can put stuff on our social media and our water billing account messaging, so we will definitely be involved in the campaign rollout here this summer, and then ongoing as well, like we do with many other initiatives.
Okay. Anything else? All right, well then, why don't we do a roll call?
You got it. Saban.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
No.
Duskin.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bartleson.
No.
Beretta.
No?
Motion passes.
All right, thank you, it's good debate.
Next item.
CA2, yeah, what do you got? Oh, so, here, okay, so we're looking for a motion to pass tonight to adjust the city code for compensation for future elected officials. So, I'm gonna make a motion.
I'll make a motion.
All right, Larry,
Second.
seconded by JR. So just to be really clear, this was brought up a few weeks ago. I don't think there's been any pay adjustments to council members for 20 years. If this passes, and be really clear, it doesn't affect any of us. This is all for future council members. So it's not a pay raise if it passes that's voting in for any of us. It's for next group of folks that come in.
2023 and 2025 would be the next two, and then it would be set. Also, I wanted to mention there were some questions about the increases automatically. We talked about COLA. It was discussed that we would build this in as CPI, but it doesn't go up every year for CPI. It has to go up in aggregate every other term, or every term, right? So you can't change in a positive or a negative way for any elected official in their seat. So each time there's a term, they can go up with CPI what it has been for the previous couple years. So that is built in the way it's written, and this would be a request to approve Ordinance 21010 to amend Chapter 30 of the City Code to adjust compensation of future City of Lockport elected officials.
All right, anybody have any thoughts, concerns?
So Mayor, I asked the question to you briefly earlier, and I asked Lisa the question briefly earlier. Under the compensation, I just want clarification, and if it goes the way Lisa said, then I would want an amendment to how this is written. But it says compensation for, and it's for either mayor, alderman, treasurer, shall receive compensation, and I'll just pick alderman for now, for services as alderperson for the sum of $500 per month for a total of $6,000 per year, basically. My comment or question is, so I would not receive payment for the month of May, but yet this should say coming in or coming out, if we want to change that for the month of, where you don't get it on your exit month. Lisa told me that we would not receive payment for the month of May for Darren and I leaving. So I want clarification on that.
Yeah, that came up previously. I'm sure Lisa can explain. You actually, go ahead. Amy.
Yeah, so the new alder people who are brought in today, they will get payment for this May, as you did when you were elected. You got paid for that first month. So then your last payment is in April.
But it should change it should change the verbiage then, because it says per month, the sum of 500 going up to 750 per
It
month.
states for the term. The term is 4 years, and when you start in May, you got paid for that May. And so if you're paid this month, you would get 1 month extra than your 4-year term. That's what
We could pull the
you're
reports
asking.
for your pay stubs, and it'll show the
I don't have a
exact
problem with that. I'm just saying it should be worded just slightly different.
I don't think there's any
disagree, yeah,
confusion
I'm
with
sorry.
that. It's for the term, and it's
Term is
just,
ending May 5th, not for the month of
so-
May.
All right. Well, anything else? Anybody have any other questions? All right.
So why would someone come to the last meeting then? Is it like a free meeting?
Well, that was my thought earlier, but from listening to Lisa, they got paid for the full month that
May,
they
yeah.
started. So that would have been paid on the front end. Because that's what my question too, is like, well, then why come to work on your last day if you're not getting paid? But it was paid up on the front end, is what I'm understanding.
We had an alderman ask, I forget which one, a few years ago, maybe 6, 8 years ago, and when they came in or leaving, and we did the analysis of running when those pay stubs were, and because you're getting 26 pay periods a year, we were able to prove that they got them all or whatever.
once a month.
Yeah, they get paid once a month or 12 a year or whatever,
So you
so
get 48
you're able to
payments in
see
your
those, yeah, you get 48 payments in your term, and you're getting 48 payments in your term. If you add another one, you'd be getting 49.
So can you change that to say 48 payments in the term? It doesn't say that. I mean, we're voting on how this is written now, that's why I'm asking for a change.
Anyone could make a motion to amend the original motion, and there would have to be a second, and that motion to amend would have to be approved for this done.
So if it, if you want to
thing-
change, you can make a motion.
Yeah, okay.
And if it's seconded, then we can.
So right now, it's, the way it's written is that we're just changing the amounts, we're not changing anything else, but certainly the floor is open.
So can I make a motion to change it to say, instead of 6,000 per annum, it would say basically 48 payments per term? Is that okay to say it that way, or? I know, but it's just the way that the word says per month.
Well, there's a motion to change the language. Does anybody want to second it? Well,
Well, I'm
then,
saying to 48
Don't second.
payments per term.
We do have some 2-year terms now too, so that would complicate it, but.
True.
But I don't know that it's, I mean, we're the ones that are processing it for payroll. We're not going to overpay somebody. I'm not sure where the question comes in.
all right, so if there's no second, then we will,
You know, I just need clarification, okay? I understand where she's coming from, the verbiage is what's throwing, okay? She understands now that you know, anyone stepping down now will not be getting paid because we got paid at the beginning of our term. So you're saying just the verbiage needs to be changed?
Correct.
she's concerned that people may be
I mean, obviously, if
confused
Ben
and-
said had it before, there was a question, it's come up before. This is the time to correct it. We're going over what this says.
Sonny?
Yeah, I don't think there was any confusion. The example that Ben brought up was someone who thought that they were underpaid. So the actual ordinance says, and this is ordinance that's been carried on for years, so it says per term. You know, and the term could be 2 years, it could be 4 year, whatever the full term is. The total amount is for, like, for example, the mayor's 6,000, and then it's broken by per month. So again, you know, if you started in May, you would get the whole entire month up front. And it's just a week difference. It's not like, I don't think anyone would be overpaid or underpaid for their term.
But do you feel it's clear, that
Yeah, I think
verbiage is
it's clear. This is not per meeting compensation. Is, you know, if they,
Right, it's per term.
older
If we have a
person-
special meeting, you don't
yeah.
get another stipend for
If
another
an older
meeting.
person didn't want to show up on the last meeting, that's their prerogative on, but well, actually, they're obligated to show up, you know, because that's what they're elected to do. But,
Civic
you know,
duty.
I don't think there's any confusion in the language of the ordinance. I've seen similar ordinances with the same language.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor to second. I'm looking for a second. If anybody wants to change this language, we can debate it and fine tune it. If there's a second, then it passes. So what do you guys want to do? All right, if there's no second, then we'll do, are we ready for a roll call then to,
As written, sure.
all right, so roll call as it's written, please.
Okay, Saban.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Deskin.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes?
Coretta.
Yes,
Motion passes.
Okay, next, PZ1. So looking for a motion to approve a concept plan for a gas station at 15925.
So moved.
All right, Darren? Seconded by Renee. All right, Lance, you want to give us the lowdown?
Yeah, this is the same case that was before you a couple of weeks ago regarding the Thornton's gas station at the southeast corner of 159th Street and Gauger Road. It is a typical passenger vehicle gas station with additional diesel pumps on the south side of the building. This is had all the conditions related to the developer's request for some incentive dollars at the last meeting. I just want to be clear that this approval or this recommendation does not include that incentive. That is a totally separate matter. So what you're voting on tonight is just simply related to the plan, the concept, and the fact that they can move forward from concept into final development plans.
So the way it's written now, it would go from concept to final, not concept to preliminary to final?
Well, when they originally started, they were going to go through preliminary, and they produced most of their drawings at a preliminary design level. What happened was when the roadway changes on Gauger needed to occur, they had to take a step back. So we have already done a couple reviews on their preliminary sets and have given comments back on those preliminary sets. So they've already advanced quite a bit down the road on the design and the detail. So we feel comfortable, I feel comfortable that, we could advance to final, and then that'll go through Plan and Zoning Commission, and it'll come back through all of you as well.
Okay, understood. Any questions, concerns from council?
I just wanted to say thank you for all the work so far that the city staff has done on this. I know, Lance, you've done a lot, the engineers have done a lot, and there's been a few different plans drawn up. Respectfully, because I work on the Green Committee, I will be voting against this, but that's nothing against the city staff or the plans before us.
All right, anybody else? All right, then why don't we do a roll call, please?
You got it. Saban.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
No.
Galogly.
Yes.
Duskin.
Yes.
Lobes.
No.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Coretta.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All righty. Last thing on the voting agenda tonight is looking for a motion to pass the 2021 Streetscape Project Award.
So moved?
Mark?
Second.
Seconded by Renee. Who's got this PD? Oh, is this, Brent, you want to talk to it?
Ready to move forward. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This evening, we do have 2021 Streetscape project on the agenda for consideration. This is a continuation of the project that we've done, started in 2019 and actually started in 2018, completed in 2019. And everybody is able to see now I think it's been fantastic. We've got 2 blocks from 8th to 10th on State that have been completed over the last couple years, and then we've got a short block from State down to Commerce on 9th Street that's been completed. Again, we're looking to mirror and extend those blocks, so it will be very similar. Obviously, it's been designed to continue the flow, so we don't have a large change in design or expectation. Positives on this project is that we do already have the underground work in, so the underground, all of the underground vaults, all of the underground utilities, water main, storm sewer, sanitary sewer, anything that needs to be done has already been done in these 2 blocks. So it's going to be less impactful. It will still be impactful to our businesses, to our residents in the area. However, it will be much less impactful. The 2 blocks that are specifically going to be considered as part of this project are on 9th Street from State up to Hamilton, and then also on State Street from 10th to 11th. Approximately 2 months for each block, so the focus is going to be 2 months, so starting in July, right after the 4th is the anticipation. They'll have 2 months to get 1 block done, proceed over to the next block and have 2 months to get that done. So it will not be the entire area is not going to be open. They're not going to come out and,
Starting with 9th, right? Starting with 9th.
Correct, starting with 9th.
So the car show shouldn't be as
That's
impacted.
correct. So July to August, August to September is the anticipated time frame for 9th Street. And then beginning, I guess it would be September to October, October to November, so around Thanksgiving we'd be wrapping everything up. The projects do include sidewalk, planters, all the landscaping, new curb, and also new roadway, so new pavement will be included in this. So again, it's a very, very good project. We did receive favorable bids. We had 4 bidders. R.W. Dunneman was the apparent low bidder in the amount of $1,793,189.38. Engineer's estimate was $1.86 million. The city did budget $2.4 million. Again, very favorable bids. We've been able to order some of the longer lead items. As everybody knows, we've got a lot of delays going on right now with steel, with just about everything, I feel like. But we've been able to secure a lot of those items up front, and asking for council's consideration this evening on awarding this project. The last thing I do want to mention is this is an IDOT project, so IDOT award is ultimately what will control. We are basically concurring with that award. So this evening I'm asking for that award, but again, IDOT ultimately will be the final hand on this.
And if I could just add, this is a lot of public investment in the downtown, but I think you're starting to see the fruits of our past labor and expenses, where now private dollars are investing in our downtown over the last several years because of what we're doing. So this is great to kind of finish this off. And we've also are working on some preliminary designs that we want to sit down and talk about 10th Street, about becoming a festival street. If you remember, the original plan a few years ago had another portion to talk about in the future, and if we could get grants for it. But with the car shows and all the activity down there, this is going to be a great addition, and 10th Street will be too someday if we decide to do that.
All right, very good. Any questions, concerns? All right, appreciate all the hard work that went into this, and again, it's continuation of, plans that have been in place that residents have wanted to see for decades, so very good. All right, if there's nothing else, then we'll do a roll call, please.
You got it. Saban.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Deskin.
Yes.
Loeb.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Coretta.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Well, this, as we go to some comments here, I think kind of ends a little bit of an era for us all. I know that this is Alderman Deskin and Alderwoman Peretta's last meeting, and it's very meaningful. I mean, there's been a Peretta on the council for how many? 12 years now, and I'll say, Catherine, I always appreciated your diligence, and I know you always read the packet, and I very much appreciated you being on the council. And Darren, of course, we ran together, and once you're gone, I'll be the only guy left from that. Everybody will be new, and that will be missed. I really do appreciate it, all your candor, but before I present you guys with some plaques and say thank you, if you guys have earned the microphone, if you want to say anything.
Okay. See if I can get through this. My first city council meeting I was about 13 or 14.
Hold on, dude, there's like
14 years old. This is just a short part. But 13 or 14 years old, I had a great history teacher at Kelvin Grove, a guy by the name of Ray Finelli, who I thought was really old when he was my teacher. And then when I was a sophomore in high school, he died, and he was only 54 years old. But so we could get extra credit by going to city council meetings. So I went to city council meetings, I don't know, so that would have been 1973, 1974. Came back in February 2008 when I read in the newspaper that the Star Business Park was going to be presented, and that's the first time I ever saw Steve Strite, and he was a character then too. And so it was interesting, and the Star Business Park was the original idea for the old Texaco property. And what intrigued me was that discussion, but then they talked about things in what we now call the Committee of the Whole. And well, this is when do you have this discussion? So I decided, well, I'll go back in 2 weeks. and then back in 2 weeks, and back in 2 weeks. And so since February 2008, I don't think I've missed 10 city council meetings. It's a long time. And all the planning and zoning commission. So Steve and I ran together 8 years ago. And, during that period of time, those 13 years, I've seen three separate, I guess we'd call thought processes in regards to the city of Lockport, because this was, when I first came, was pre-recession, and the sky was the limit. Houses were selling for stupid amounts of money. People were, buying $175,000 houses for $300,000 and selling them 3 years later for $400,000. And then the recession hit, and the high point of the, I'm a numbers guy, so the high point was in 2008, the high point of the assessed values of the properties, and by 2014, the average house, not only in the city of Lockport, but basically in the city of Lockport, had dropped by 42%. And so we were in this recession, okay, and during that period of time, not a lot was getting done in regards to infrastructure. The infrastructure in town was bad. So Steve and I inherited this, it's a financial difficulty here in town, and so this is when we started having discussions, well, what are we going to do? We need to go ahead and fix the roads, and people have short memories, but, we had roads that were full of potholes, and we had water mains that were 100 or more years old. We had some areas in town down along State Street that had lead water mains. We had, somebody would sneeze at the north end of town, and somebody's basement would flood on the south end of town. And BJ said, yeah, that's true. So we saw that happen, and so then we hired Ben. When we were first elected, we had an interim city administrator, interim city planner. I don't think we had an interim finance director. Okay. Community development director, city planner. So we had all these interim stuff. So we had to kind of build these things up, and. Steve has more confidence, has a better memory than I do, because he thought that we were going to do it. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what were we getting into? So we hired Ben, and it was a great decision, and which then leads to, I think, the biggest impact that Steve and I have had on the city, where it all kind of started we were at the Illinois Municipal League Conference, and Ben and I were sitting next to each other. We didn't know each other. He'd only worked for us for a week and a half, or whatever it was. And we had a brilliant presenter in 1 hour, and she was a city administrator or city planner in one town, and she was on the council in another town, and I remember Lakewood Woods was one of and she was brilliant. And she said that every municipality should have 3 different types of plans. And those 3 types of plans are a comprehensive plan, various master plans, and a strategic plan. And I leaned over to Ben, and this 30-second conversation was, I've read the comprehensive plan. It's dated 1995, probably ought to be updated. The various master plans, they're all old, but I haven't read a strategic plan. And I said, have you read a strategic plan? And he says, no. And I said, well, I think that's what we need to do in the next 12 months. And I really had no idea what I was asking, because I really didn't know what it was. And so what that did is it allowed us to go ahead, and for the very first time that I know of, is we put together an infrastructure plan for a 2-year plan. And the first 2-year plan was we've got to make sure that we're ready for IDOT tearing up 9th Street, and we had to be able to put a water main across State Street. So we didn't do what is done in the past, get a brand new road and then cut it up 2 weeks later by either fixing a water main or, so we did that. Then a couple years later, we came up with this 10-year capital improvement plan is $186 million, and that's, wow, that's a lot of money. So we did that, and associated with it, the second biggest decision that we made was we went to a fiscal year beginning January 1 versus fiscal year July 1, like most communities have. And so what that allowed us to do was to go ahead and go out to bid for these various projects. And we just heard tonight it's $700,000 below what we budgeted the bid come in. The big project we're doing this year, it come in $2.7 million under what we budgeted, okay? So what we're able to do then over the past few years is bring 2022, 23, 24 projects, and we did these projects in 2017 and 2018. So what we did is we saved the inflation rate on that. And so I thought that was pretty good, okay? And I don't know what the number is that we've saved the city from the original 186 million, but when all is said and done, I wouldn't be surprised if it's 140 million. That's pretty good, okay? And then the third thing we did, the final thing, which brings this whole experience full circle, is when we purchased the Chevron property a couple of months ago, where, and that was huge. That was not only huge for us, but it's also huge for 100 years from now when we took responsibility of that property. And so we're not going to see a logistics center. And so we did that, and we did some good, a lot of good things in between, okay? I worked with a lot of good people, and didn't always get along with people, and I'm tough to get along with sometimes. So I have, Steve, I would say that Steve and I were like an old married couple, okay? But it was over. When it was over, we still loved each other, and we just moved on, Ben and I.
Oh, he's getting
So, Karen and Matt, welcome. You guys can do a good job. It's the best job in town, okay, to that. So I've enjoyed my time. Maybe I'll be back in a couple years, maybe I won't. I'm gonna miss it. I've spent a lot of time in this room, so that's all I have to say.
Bravo, Darren. Very good, Darren. Now I know why Ben doesn't let us bring firearms into the... Okay. I'm sorry, Catherine, you have 42 seconds.
Yeah, I agree. I was not going to talk that long. Thank goodness Darren summarized everything that we did in the last 8 years here. I will like to say that when we moved into Lockport in 2003, it only took us a year between me and my husband to get involved in the city with different stuff. And I would like to point out my daughter there. She's standing there, or sitting down. If you could just stand up for a second. When she was born, my husband was already elected. You don't want to stand up, Julie? That's Julie Peretta. Anyway, my husband was already on the 33C school board when she was born. So that tells you how quickly we got involved in the city. And so it'll be the first time that she actually has normal parents who are not involved in anything specifically. And yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting now, but a good time since she's in high school and transitioning to that part now. But I would like to say thank you to everyone, and I don't want to take up too much more time, but I see you guys are all excited to come and get sworn in, and I know that's the next step. That's why everybody's in the audience. And so I will stop talking, but I would like to say thank you. Thank you to Chief Lemming here, too. I spent a lot of time with you asking you about all the great stuff the police does, so hopefully someone gets to keep up on all that. And if you guys need to reach me, you can still find me. I'm around town, so thank you.
Well, thank you, too. Bravo. And if you don't mind, if I may, if you guys can come down, I'd like to give you some plaques for your service. All right. Catherine, seriously, I really mean what I say. I always appreciated all that you did and all your questions and looking at every detail. It's what made you an effective alderman, and I really do appreciate it. And this plaque really doesn't do much justice for all the hours that you put in. But thank you, and thank Bob for the service he put in before, and the Pretas that really meaningful and made their mark on Lockport. So thank you. And I know that's going to continue, so thank you. Oh, please.
Or do you want to take a group picture? Okay.
And Darren, same. Again, this doesn't do justice for all the hours that you put in. And I really will miss our conversation. Darren always says this thing like, oh, I always define like cats and dogs. Like, I never saw it that way. I actually just thought it as working through problems, and we did a lot of that.
We did a lot of that, yeah, we did.
So I want to thank you for that very much. I miss you. Here's not going away.
Good luck, everybody.
All right, so with that said, we're looking for a motion to, well, there, now he's not going to get his pay. I'm going to dock him. Where did he go? Oh, just kidding. All right, so we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
All right.
Can I
All
get
in
that
favor?
last one?
Seconded.
Me.
Catherine and Joanne. All right, I appreciate it all. Thank you.
So we just get to leave now, or how's this work?
Yes, it's very brutal. He's back. Okay, yeah. You're at the Moose waiting for him. Yeah.
I will swear in Kathy Gentile first.
All right, so we do this between meetings, is that right? If I remember right?
Yeah.
Do I need to start the committee of the whole meeting for?
Yeah, probably, right?
Well, no, they should be sworn in first, so they
Okay.
can start the meeting. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So I will swear in Kathy Gentile, and then she'll swear you in. Okay. Okay. Raise your right hand.
You guys want to do it over by the podium or something? And Larry, I know you got to come down too, so.
Okay, Kathy, please raise your right hand. State your name.
Kathleen Gentile.
Do you solemnly swear?
I solemnly swear.
Repeat after me. Do
Okay.
you solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
I solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the city clerk,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of the city clerk,
according to the best of your ability, according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Okay, you are sworn in into office.
Okay. Now I get to swear in everybody else. Are you next?
I guess.
Okay.
Make it short and sweet.
Maybe I should have you read it, so.
That'll work.
All right. Sorry, sticky. Okay. Please raise your right hand
Right hand.
and repeat after me. I, Larry Schreiber,
I, Larry Schreiber,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
Constitution of the State of Illinois.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Ward 2 Alderman
for the offices of Ward 2 Alderman,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
You are official.
There we go.
Thank you, sir. Christina Berg, oh, Renee, sure. Renee, go ahead. I can find.
Can't we just say, I do?
Yeah. All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Renee Saban,
I, Renee Saban,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Ward 4 Alderman.
of the office of Ward 4 Alderman,
Yeah, they are according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities.
Thank you. And if you can sign that. Nice, thank you. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Christina Bergbauer,
I, Christina Bergbauer,
do solemnly swear, I know, right? I keep mine on, I can't even breathe. That I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Ward 3 Alderwoman
of the office of Ward 3 Alderwoman,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Thank you.
I see we got Palea in the house. Dave Palea, our treasurer.
I thought you were talking about yourself. I was.
Yeah, right.
Raise your right hand, sir, and repeat after me. I, Dave Palia, do solemnly swear
I, Dave Pelia, solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of
the
America,
Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of City Treasurer
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the City Treasurer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, Karen.
And raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Karen Kostecki,
I, Karen Kostecki,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Ward 1 Alderwoman
for the office of Ward 1 Alderwoman
according to the best of my abilities.
according to the best of my abilities.
Awesome.
Karen. Yeah, go ahead up and take your seat.
Up on the dais. Do we have Matt?
Yep, Matt is here.
Awesome. Your turn, sir. Repeat after me. I, Matt Kairos.
I, Matt Karras,
Karis, thank you. Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Ward 1 Alderman
of the office of Ward 1 Alderman
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Awesome, sir. There you go. Good time to you, sir. Awesome. And Mr. Strite, raise your right hand and repeat after me, sir. I, Stephen Strite,
I, Stephen Stride,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the State of Illinois,
Constitution of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. All right, very good, thanks. And, before you leave, Gwen, just hold on just a second. All right, so let's just get rolling and do our meeting. So we're looking for a roll call to start our committee of the whole meeting,
Well, first First, the city clerk has to switch things, so give me just one
sorry,
moment.
okay.
When I say congratulations to the newcomers, welcome, welcome.
And whenever you want to speak, make sure you press the button and the mic will turn green. And if you're not speaking, just turn it off. Yep. And be careful of the hot mic.
Okay, ready for roll call?
Yep, lay it on us.
You got it. All right, Saban.
Present.
Bartleson.
Here.
Lobes.
Here.
Bergbauer.
Here.
Galogly.
Here.
Schreiber.
Here.
Kyrus.
Here.
Kyrus, sorry. Kostecki.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, fantastic. Again, like as Joanne says, welcome. Looking forward to working together. All right, everybody. A couple things before we get started in liaison reports. I did want to mention a couple things that have happened and are happening. So first, I'll just mention that on May 16th, Victory Leathers down here is going to be doing their first annual motorcycle blessing. These are the cool patches you get. I think there's only 200 of them, so show up, early over to Victory Leathers. That's across from Uncle Richie's. I thought it was a great idea. Me and Eddie were talking, and he said these are common ways to start off the season for motorcycle enthusiasts, and clearly we have a crowd of motorcycle enthusiasts that come to Lockport, and so embracing that and kind of celebrating it. Happy to see that happen. I know the chief had some help in getting that organized as well. Thank you, Chief. So that's May 16th from 11 to 3. It'll be a nice event, and also be good for our restaurants and stuff as they line up down there. Another thing, too, though, I want to mention with my wife, Wendy. So you guys, you got to be under a rock not to hear about the ducks. And so the Keep Our Small Businesses Afloat program now is underway. This was something that was conceived by Wendy as the Summer Art Series chair, and we kind of worked together to come up with a name that made sense, and the ducks, just were really fun, and so we had a good time creating the graphics together and making that happen. I just want to thank her for all her volunteer hours and how she really cared about how do we take care of these boutique mom and pop businesses that just really took a beating. And so we thought we'd reach out to businesses that didn't struggle by shutdowns, right? Whether they were construction companies or grocery stores, businesses that did fine. And so her and Ben and Brittany just really working with those local businesses and getting them to help support and sponsor these ducks and these artists, and then to set these ducks up all throughout the city in strategic points to get the most people to go and go see these businesses and go inside. And then we have these stamp booklets too that are little Lockport passports, and you can get them at the businesses, or you can get them here at City Hall or the library. Wendy, if you want to talk a little bit about it, please do.
Well, I just wanted to say that we've already had 5 businesses that wiped out all their passports and wiped out all their ducks. So that's a big deal. I get texts every day from the restaurants, from the owners telling me, like, this is going awesome. We've been swamped with people coming in, and they're so excited about the whole concept. So we're getting a lot of positive feedback, and we're seeing a lot of that in the social media as well. But we're hoping that as we move along, we'll also be creating a new customer base for these businesses as well. And just the other day, when we handed the passport to one of the new girls working at the Holiday Inn Express, she's like, I just moved here and I didn't know where to go for lunch. And I'm like, here you go. And she was so excited. She's like, I'm gonna go through the whole book. I'm like, that's what we hope you do. So we're really, really proud of how everything has panned out. And I appreciate the City Council and our administration's support. That I can't do any of those things without that. And of course, my darling husband's incredible marketing skills. We don't realize how fortunate we are to have a guy that's mayor, art guy, market guy. So
Oh, thank you.
I don't know what other city has that.
Wendy, I just want to let you know, I thought it was such a great, cute idea, the traveling duck. I love it. Visiting all the, businesses.
If
and
they
the-
weren't so darn heavy, I would have done it with all of them. But even the city guys were like, really? We're going to do this? I'm like, yeah. And they had such good attitudes
Cute,
about it.
Cute
So
idea. Yeah, it was nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Wendy. All right, my friends, so liaison reports. Let me just give Matt and Karen a heads up. So we have little jobs, liaisons that, different alder folk do, kind of give an oversight of different things, whether it's infrastructure and construction, or there's police liaison, there's a beautification. And so, we'll talk a little bit about ways that you can be on that thing. So at the beginning of our meetings, we do liaison reports. So if anybody's got anything they want to share about stuff that's going on, Christina?
Yes, this is for Main Street. They're having a cleanup on Saturday, the 15th at 8:30 a.m. If you want to help out, please meet at the Scale House.
Right on. Is that their annual clean sweep?
Yes, it is.
Can you repeat the time again, please?
It's 8:30 a.m., Saturday 15th at the Scale House.
Okay. That has been around for a long time, what Main Street's done, and it's really fun to see all the residents come out and plant flowers and get things cleaned up. It really is because people love their city, so thank you for sharing that. Anybody else got anything going on?
Yes, I do. So at our last meeting, I had brought up an idea to help with our residents with the shredding of their paper. With the help of staff, Lisa and Ben, I don't know if anyone else, Amanda and of course Brittany, they did put together some dates that we will have a shredding day, which will be Saturday, June 5th, from 10 to 12. This is a great opportunity for people to come. It'll be on the west side, which will be on the parking lot here, residents of Lockport will be able to bring their paper and have it shredded for free. This is a thank you to the residents for being patient with a lot of things that have been going on in the city, whether it's under, streets under construction or whatever. But I thought this would be a good way just to reach out and say thank you and have a free shredding day for you. So
No, that's
and we
great.
can
Can you give me one more time the date and times?
Yes, Saturday, June 5th, between 10 and 12 p.m.
10 and 12.
And it'll be here at City Hall in the parking lot.
Okay.
The west side, correct? Yes. Okay. So this is going to be great. So, and I did pass out, if you notice, I put one in each station. I'm asking the aldermen and alderwomen to please put it on your Facebook for, extended media coverage.
Oh, yes, that's right.
The city is going to do their part, obviously putting it on the website, and I think just by all of us putting it on our Facebook, I think it'll reach out to many people that, we don't know and so forth. So that's why I have everyone with the copy of this, okay?
That's
So
great.
thank you.
Thank you, Joanne. I really appreciate that. All right, anything else?
Oh, just a reminder about Beautification Recognition. We are in full bloom for being recognized, so if you feel that you have done a little extra with your plantings and you want to show off your home, please submit your address to, I believe it's either Amanda or Brittany, and so that way we can get you on our meeting when we start recognizing people for the spring and summer is going to be recognized as one, and that'll be in July. And then we'll start then the fall, accordingly, probably at the end of August. Okay? So that's forthcoming too.
All right, thanks again. It's time for me to take my pill, apparently. Yeah. Okay. All right, so why don't we, PW1, V3 Company, Streetscape Construction. What you got, Brent?
All right, thank you, Mayor. As a follow-up to our item that we just brought through council. This is for the construction engineering approval. So this evening, we are looking for V3 companies to be considered for the 2021 Streetscape Construction Engineering. This is for the Phase 3 portion of the Streetscape project. We just walked through the Streetscape limits. We talked about the schedule. If there's any questions specifically, I'd be glad to take those. But basically what this is this is to have our eyes and ears down there. This is somebody who will be down there making decisions 100% of the time while the project is going on. Obviously, city staff must be down there as well, especially with city staff knowing some of the ins and outs of the previous project. So this will be another big project. Coordination will be key. Communication, as always, will be key. And the other thing I just want to remind everybody is, unfortunately, this is an IDOT job. So even though we are going to do our absolute best to control it, IDOT still ultimately has the say. So we, along with V3, will do our absolute best. And I have no doubt it will go smoothly. But just throwing that out there that it is an IDOT project. So this evening, we'd ask for council's consideration. Resolution number 21-063 to approve the task order from V3 Companies in the amount of $183,090 for the 2021 Streetscape Construction Engineering.
All right, questions, concerns?
I'd just like to add that they're the ones that did the design, so it makes a lot of sense to have them on this time.
Okay. Yeah, question mark? No, I just can't wait. Oh, very good, all right. So is this something we're good with consent?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Matt and Karen, you may know this, so if you do, forgive me, I don't mean to insult, but just in case you don't. Consent means it'll be voted on, the consent agenda, where we don't discuss it next time. It's everybody agrees with it, so we put it on consent. If any time, like, if everybody else says we want consent, but any of you say, nah, I'd really like to talk about it again at the next meeting before you vote, then you just say action item, so that we can do that. All right. All right, PW2, purchase approval for the general maintenance and stormwater protection items for Chevron. All right.
This is, I think Ben has said this several times, this is the fun of being a property owner. So basically what this is us securing the site. So we've obviously purchased Chevron. Chevron had folks down there, so on a daily basis they had people that were down there. They were able to do some daily maintenance, had eyes and ears. Staff, city staff, and the city will not necessarily be down there on a daily basis. So one of the items that we're looking for is to secure the property a little bit more. So we're asking for council to provide some additional funding to secure the property by extending fence on the west side northward to prevent trespassing. We've had reports of people getting in there and doing some hunting, those types of things along the creek. So one of the items is to extend the fence. That's in the amount of $60,000. We also have several stormwater pumps in this area. These pumps, their lone job is during heavy events to lift up the water and shoot it, pump it to the north and to the west over to the detention ponds. Without those pumps, we have a major issue on the west side. Those pumps are electric, so when the electricity goes out, which it does happen in this area, we have no backup. And in the past, what Chevron has done, they've had 3 backup 6-inch stormwater pumps down there. So in the event that the power does go out, which they've indicated does happen fairly frequently, they run these 3 pumps out and they run on diesel, and they're able to keep up with that. So what we're asking for is a stormwater pump generator. So basically, in the event that these 2 pumps are still functional, however there's no electricity, we would have a backup generator. The cost of that is $85,000. That's labor material that's installed. There is also then, our request would be to purchase a 6-inch stormwater pump. Again, they've had 3, we're asking for 1. That's in case one of our pumps is, we still have electric down there, let's say, but one of our pumps goes out. To have one of those backup pumps on the shelf would be extremely expensive. They've been maintained extremely well, and we think that these pumps are very similar to ones that we have at the treatment plant. So we have individuals that can work on them. This is in the event of an emergency. Middle of the night, heavy rain, we don't have any other backup capability. We roll this pump out there. We are able to put it right into the same system that we have currently, and no harm, no foul, we're able to stay up with that storm event. So that takes care of the stormwater pump, the generator. The existing facility, there's a fairly large fabrication shop. It's about 200 by 50 feet in size. So it's a very useful building for the city. There's a lot of, basically it's space, it's storage space. What ultimately will happen with this building, we're not quite sure, but it is a good structurally sound, stable building that we'd like to maintain. There's a crane, an overhead crane within this facility. So there's some opportunities for us to utilize this in the future. And again, if it's, Public Works or city in general, or for future development down in that area. So we'd like to kind of shore up that building. Again, the people that were down there, they kept it up to what their needs were. We're asking to get it to a little bit better shape, basically secure it. So winterize it. Right now, there's a few leaks in the roof, and then the siding, there's some gaps where pipes used to come out. They've done a lot of different fabrication in there, so pipes used to come out. So we're asking to basically fill those holes. So remove some sheets of siding, put up new sheets of siding sheets, address any leaks in the roof, and then insulation inside. There's been some birds that have gotten into the area. They love insulation, nesting. So we've gotten the birds out. We just have to basically address the insulation. So that's the third thing. So for the fabrication, it's addressing the roof, the siding, the insulation. And then we also have 2 man doors that are there currently. And just again, over time, deterioration, we want to make sure this is secure. So those would be replaced, locks, deadbolts, and make sure that the entire building is secure. There's overhead doors that are in great shape, so those would be maintained. No additional work is requested there, no additional changes. Overall, the cost that we're looking for, and this is all inclusive, materials, labor, we're asking for $256,600. I can go through each of the individual costs here as I scroll through.
Can you just give me the cost for the building itself? Like, to do
Sure.
those
So
things?
for the fabrication shop, 25, 37, 46.2.
These would all come out of capital funds as well, just in case anyone's wondering.
6,400. $52,800.
Okay. All right.
And that's for the roofing, the insulation, the siding, and then the 2 man doors.
Okay. But-
So total job, $256,600. Roughly, $50,000 is for the building. So the remaining $200,000 is fencing, and then the stormwater generator and the stormwater pump. So this evening, we'd be asking for council's consideration to put this on to consent. Resolution number 21-064 for the purchase of maintenance-related and stormwater protection items at the Chevron site.
I have a couple comments. So and just to bring everybody up to speed. So after we purchased it, very quickly, Lance and I had somebody reach out to us. There's a very interesting use. It was a group of folks that do a hockey facility. They wanted to do an indoor facility with, multiple rinks. We believe it's fine with the IEPA because it's indoors. It would be on a cement pad, so it's not outdoors, which, is problematic with some of the restrictions. But, they talked about doing it in the same kind of way that the Bow Dome is done. And they feel very confident in their ability to make this successful. And so they were looking at doing not just 1, but 3 of these domes down there with 6 sheets of ice. I know that Sean Callahan from the disc golf course had been asking about doing some sort of indoor facility for disc golf. I said, why don't y'all talk to each other, because maybe one of these domes can be half for that, and they seem to be excited about talking to one another. That said, there's some hurdles for it. Part of the problem is these guys really want to do this, but we're not quite ready with the Chevron site. I mean, there's some things that we've got to really think about first, and probably if they were to do the Chevron site, they would at best be open probably sometime in 2022. These guys are very interested though in being open earlier, and it's not, we really sat down and talked with them. It's like, guys, I just don't think that's a realistic deadline. The good news is they were then looking over at the business park where the Bow Dome is. There is still some property out there, so it's not like these guys are gonna just go somewhere else. They're very interested in being part of Lockport. But I bring all this up to say, when it comes to the building, while it is a cool building, I don't know what, we may end up knocking it down in, 6 months or a year, depending on how maybe something like this would lay out. I'd hate to put the money into it without a full plan yet as to what we're doing. That's just my suggestion, is perhaps, remove that part of this. Clearly, the pumps are necessary. We always knew that those were going to be needed to maintain. It's actually one of the concerns we had with other users buying this site, especially the level of user that was looking at. They're like, these guys are never going to maintain these pumps. We're going to have a flood on the west side. So we knew that was coming, and that's fine. But that would just be my suggestion with possibly the building. But I will open it up to other people's thoughts here.
Just to mention too, we were looking at, I almost called him Alderman Petrakos. The architect Petrakos from Trio Architecture is.
That's what I'm going to call him from now on.
I know.
The
right?
architect Petrakos.
The architect Petrakos. He was going to look at a little bit of a space needs analysis for us on that property as well, so we could wait till that's completed and then also wait until the land plan and everything gets done. So we are looking at whether this space could be, Brent and I think the space could be used for public works for additional storage, but again, the space needs analysis will help us to answer that question, so.
Mike, thoughts, concerns?
Hey, what's our current notification on power outages down there?
I'm sorry.
What is our current notification when there are power outages down there? I mean,
Like, how do we know if the pumps are out?
yeah, I mean, are we just assuming we know when the power's out? Or, I know it's nice to have a generator for that purpose, but are we just assuming when the generators kick on, then we better go check to make sure the pumps are working? Or what kind of system are we planning on using down there?
Well, I think the way that it had been, monitored in the past was that they had other operations down there, meaning Chevron. So Chevron Tri-Hydro, who were operating down there, they would have other things that would go down. They had offices, those types of things. So they knew instantly when it went down. These are some of the challenges that we quite honestly have to work through. As far as when that power goes out, we have to know when the power goes out. So to answer your question, I can't tell you definitively today how we're going to know that when that power goes out, other than this generator is there to help us get through that. In the short term, we have a very good relationship with Tri-Hydro. They still have some property to the north, so we've been in constant communication with them. So if there were to be a power outage down there, quite honestly, that's probably how we would, as of today, just taking it over, that's how we would know, based on what that communication with Tri-Hydro. But moving forward, it would be some sort of an alarm system. It would be, I don't want to make it seem like we don't have a plan in place. SCADA, ultimately, it would be very similar to our treatment plant. So as soon as the power went out, just like at our treatment plant, we get alarms on our phones, it would be a very similar effort there. So we would have a SCADA system in place.
So it's not like a backup generator like you have at your house. It just kicks on automatically.
It is. It will kick on automatically, but I guess to
So we don't have to have JR run down there and turn a pump on?
No, it will
Yeah.
fire up. I guess the question would be just so we know. And again, the other challenge that we have down there, unfortunately, is that there's no natural gas. And with the bedrock, we tried to price that out, and it was very expensive. So we're not able to have just a constant flow of fuel. So that is one of the other obstacles that we have. We have to know when that kicks on so we can make sure that we have it fueled up.
All right, what else? Anything else? Are you guys comfortable doing this without the $52,000 for the building at the moment? Or would you rather approve it as presented?
We can also put it on as an action item. I know that Sunny was just mentioning that to me, if we wanted to reduce it, talk about it further.
And we could present two options, one with and one without, and take a vote on it.
Well, that's,
I think if we're gonna be, the pump's the most important thing, but if this building is not gonna be long for life, is it wise to wait to see what the plans are from these potential developers? If it does interfere, we'll know we don't need to put any additional life into that building. If it doesn't interfere, we already have a plan of action ready to go. But I think the water pumps themselves, I think, are the most important thing right now.
yeah, that's my view on it. I mean, I would just, if you guys are comfortable, just take off the building fixes for now. We can always do it later, but I think we'll get through the planning and how the site's gonna lay out and everything else, and then we can, if it's a building that's worth keeping, then so be it. So,
Are there any, sorry, apologies, are there any, like, immediate things that need to be done just to, like, prevent leakage, to prevent further deterioration of the building, that we could do as a stopgap for, let's say, 5, 6 months?
That is really what this was proposed to be, more of that stopgap to eliminate any further deterioration. I mean, ultimately, if it's a facility that we're looking to keep, then yes, down the road, you're gonna look to replace the entire roof. You're gonna replace siding, and not next year or maybe in 5 years, but 10, 15, 20 years, those would be worked into our long-term. But this was more of, yes, just weatherproof it.
But over the next 6, 7 months, as long as we deal with the pumps as a priority, the building would still be reusable if it were to stay.
Yes, it will get, water is getting into it. So, I mean,
well, I think our plan here is to move, we're not dragging our feet on like doing some kind of, plan and reaching out.
It's been open to the weather for 5 or 10 years. I think another few months is not going to kill it, so.
All right, so that's my suggestion. You guys good with that? We'll take that off for now and put the rest on. And if that's the case, we can put it on consent. Okay, my friends, very good. And, along those same lines, I just want to give you an update on, part of the Chevron parcel that we had presented with some, feasibility studies and such on the south end was the Makers Park. And so, if you guys recall, Phase 1 was a suggestion of doing a Makers Pad, something smaller, which we started with the right north of the Gaylord Building. So Second City Greens is there, but we've had two really great, excited people that they're Lockport citizens, they live here, and one of them is interested in doing roasting coffee down there, which is perfect for it, right? Because it's not a point-of-sale place. It's kind of like Second City Greens. You make your stuff and you sell it elsewhere. And then a person that does jewelry and CNC making, not a sales place, but that's their workshop. So really excited. They're very interested in it and getting on that committee to be part of the whole planning. So it's fun to see the excitement for that Makers Pad. And we haven't even promoted it, man. So I think that's been really good. I appreciate Lance's work on that with those folks. So, all right, my friends, if there's nothing else, then looking for...
One item on new business, if I may, and I may have said this earlier, but I just wanted to acknowledge Sonny Williams, who was recently elected third VP of the Illinois State Bar Association. Congratulations, that's no short task. She is a highly respected municipal attorney, certainly by her peers, and so congratulations.
All right, fantastic, Sonny. Yes, third chair. Yeah. All right, they're looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
I think it was Renee and Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, why don't we take 5 minutes and then we'll start again.
Thank you. So what was the official title? I want to get it. Is Vice President?
It's ISB, third vice president.
Third Vice.
Everybody here? All right, Kathy, when you're ready to rock and roll, we'll do a roll call, please.
I am ready. All right, Saban. Still present. Bartleson.
Here.
Lobes.
Here.
Bergbauer. Here. Galogly.
Here.
Schreiber.
Here.
Karas.
Here.
Kostecki.
Here.
We have a quorum. Okay.
All right, very good. So a lot of appointments tonight is like the new term kicks in. We've got to reappoint or appoint, and so that's mainly what this agenda is here. So first one on the agenda is the reappointment of Big Ben, Benjamin Benson, as the city administrator, as recommended by myself. Ben, you've done an outstanding job. I couldn't be more pleased with your performance and all the things you've done, and just a great temperament and your dedication to, I mean, you're putting a ton of hours that, you know, were way beyond the call of duty, and I really appreciate you having here, man. And when I come in and Ben's here, it's like, oh, great, Ben's in. So I really appreciate you, man. All right, so with that said, we're looking for a motion to approve Resolution 21058, which is
So
the
moved.
reappointment. Second. All right, any discussion? Well, then we'll do a roll call, please.
You got it. Saban. Yes. Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Karas.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next is we're looking for a motion to reappoint Jack Miller to the Board of Police Commission. Jack, interesting cat, I think this is his third term as commissioner, probably one of the most qualified guys I've ever seen. He's a career FBI, was a liaison to the embassies in Singapore and Hong Kong. He's a Georgetown law graduate. He's really been a great asset on the Police Commission board. So we're looking for a motion to approve his reappointment, 21059.
I would actually like to motion a table until the next meeting.
Any particular reason?
Yes, I would just like to have the opportunity to talk with him about his time as a commissioner, and I think also Alderman Bergbauer would also like to have some time, so we would actually just like to request that we be given some time to speak, and then we would then approve at the next May meeting.
So we have a second with Renee.
I would like to second that.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. We good with that? All right, I think you guys will, Jack's fascinating
Absolutely.
cat. You guys are really enjoyed talking with him.
I look forward to it, too.
All right, so we will table that. All right, reappointment of Neil Wheeler and appointment of Matt Karras to the International Code Council Board of Appeals. Sorry, man, new guy gets it, so.
It's an exciting committee. It's,
Yes.
travel the world.
It sounds very exotic.
does, yeah.
But basically, you never meet.
It's actually the seventh. It's actually the seventh Avenger. So, yes.
All right, so we're looking for an approval of Resolution 21060 for that.
So make that second.
All right, we got Mark and JR.
No, Larry and JR, right? Was it
No,
Larry?
it was Mark and
Is it Mark and JR?
You beat me to
Sorry.
it.
Okay.
Do we need to do roll calls on these, Sonnies, or is, all
Yes.
right, sorry, I don't think I did roll call on,
Do we need to do a roll on the table?
No, the other one was a motion to continue, so that does not require a,
okay, so we'll do a roll call for this?
yes.
Okay.
You got it. Saban.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Karas.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, and next one was a Resolution 21062 to appoint Aaron Peters and Kyle Quinn to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I believe there was ask to table that as well. There was a
Yes.
concern on that. All right, I have no problem tabling it. Are we okay with tabling this for now?
Yes.
Again, that would be a motion to continue the item until the May 19th.
Okay, so looking for a motion to continue to May
moved.
19th.
Second.
All right, got Mark and Renee. All in favor then?
Aye.
Okay. All right, next is, next stuff all deals with our current police chief and the chief's successor. So let me just give a little background on this, because it's kind of been a whirlwind here. As I think council knows, of course, and but for those who are here in attendance, the appointment of the chief goes in tandem with the mayor. So when a new mayor comes on board, they have an opportunity that's when they name a chief, and they can either continue with the chiefs that they have or bring on a new chief, and that's the way municipal appointments work, right? Same thing with our city administrator. And so it's kind of a unique position in that, and that it's always it goes with political appointments. There was some thoughts about, like, should the succession plan have been put in place earlier on? For me, I never wanted to be presumptuous that I would win the election, so I said I will wait till after the election, because it may be somebody else choosing the chief, and I think it would be wrong for me to put any kind of plan together when it's not my choice until after the election. So thus, after that, it's now on my shoulders to appoint somebody. One of the things is, I had asked Terry, Terry, I think you've been one of the best police chiefs anyone could ask for. I think you've done tremendous work here in the city of Lockport. And I said, Terry wants to serve all 4 years. It's good with me. I would have loved to see him stay on board. I mean, you've totally transformed the department. You started, when I came on board, I had asked you, I really want a community-oriented department, one where people feel in the community that, the police are, part of their, they're there to protect them, not an us versus them mentality, which sometimes you see in departments, right? But you have done a magnificent job creating a community-oriented department, Terry. Whether it's Lockport Love, which was completely conceived by you, right? And 100% of the money that was brought in, goes to people in the city of Lockport who are in need. I mean, I can't think of a more community-oriented outreach, and SCPJ's here too. She's helped Terry with that over the years. And even when SHIELD came along for COVID, right? I said, how do we help people that are in need? You guys said, we'll be the point people for that. And SHIELD has been a very successful way of us getting through COVID. I appreciated how you handled it, right? There was a lot of anxiety over this past year with, like, how businesses are going to be, or are they going to have a police force swarm in there and shut them down, with mandates and stuff coming out of Springfield. But you're very sensible for how it was handled, and I believe that the business community hugely appreciated your sensible ways of dealing with it. You've been a phenomenal ambassador because you're on law enforcement boards all over the region, even down in Springfield, and those connections really have done a lot for us. Not only do we have respect, for our police department all around the state, but I remember when we were really dealing with these car break-ins and they were just a plague. I'm like, Terry, can you, instead of each of these municipalities fighting this individually, can you gather these people together? Let's share intelligence. And, you were able to do that because of your respect and, the connections that you have. And that was magnificent. And I really think it's helped start making some arrests. I know it's still a plague, but, I mean, you really initiated that, which I appreciate. You did the bike repair ministry, the haunted squad cars, you established a triad for our seniors, which used to be a county program, but you brought it in here for us to help seniors from being, scammed. You brought Rich Wistocki, when I, brought his name before you, you were very familiar with him and really brought him into the department to help train our officers on cyber crimes. It was something that was, it didn't really know how to handle it. But Rich is an expert with not only cyber crimes, but with, chasing bad people on the internet that are predatory. Rich came in and you made that work and got the officers trained. And then also encouraged Rich to work with our local schools to teach parents as well. You came up with the escort for deceased servicemen, right? So police would give them an escort to the Abe Lincoln Cemetery. You've established the Citizens Police Academy alumni to help at events. There was a responsible rental program you guys helped put together. Planned the Santa parade, for crying out loud, right? I mean, the stuff that you've gone above and beyond to create that community development has it's not lost on the community, man. You are well-beloved in this city, and I really appreciate your service. And so, while I really wanted to see you serve all 4 years, Terry's like, well, I would like to retire sometime this year. I'm glad to, be reappointed for, now that you're the mayor again. But Terry, was, it wasn't his long-term plans to stay all 4 years. That said, I know there were some concerns raised of whether or not Terry could even serve because of his age at 66, which his birthday is next week. And I said, Terry, I love you. If it says you can't do it, then you can't do it, right? But if you can, then, man, I'm happy to see it happen. So, I know Sonny and the Police Board of Commissioners, and we even had an outside council all got together and said, is this, because it seems to be there was confusion from a statute called 65 ILS. It's a statute down from Springfield that says police officers have a mandatory retirement at 65. The thing is, though, it's pretty clear that this mandate is for your rank and file police folks. In other words, people that are hired by police commission boards. They have that retirement age put on them. When it comes to police chiefs, it's outside of it because you guys are political appointments. It's not regular police officers. You're not chasing guys down an alleyway like you're 25 anymore. You guys are administrative. And and then of course, going back to how well respected you are in the state, I must have had 6 police chiefs from around the state call me and say, Mayor, I'm 68. Mayor, I'm 70. Mayor, I'm 69. Yes, you can do this, right? And so that's great. There was, I think, one thing, though, that with our city attorney, Sonny, she's like, it's fine. You of course, can do this, but the best thing to do is to pass an ordinance that says our chief is, outside of that 65 age retirement that police board commissioners, hires are meant to. And even the outside counsel said that's fine. Do I think it's necessary? You know what? Some of these chiefs I talk to work in cities that don't have a special ordinance because it's just read into the statute that chiefs are exempt. Others have done it. We even have Pete Piazza works as the chief for the Secretary of State Police. And so, again, this is something that's very doable and common that happens all the time. So in order to just cross all our T's and dot our I's, we do have a resolution on here that says, yes, Terry can work past the age of 66, past his birthday next week. And so that's good. It's just making sure that we leave no questions unanswered about whether this is okay. I think that, clarifying that language is great. But the thing is, because there was a lot of concern whether this could happen or not, in the meantime, I thought, well, if I have to find a replacement for Terry, I better do so. So we reached out and looked at Deputy Chief Harang. Officer Harang has just had 22 years of service here in Lockport, 25 years on law enforcement altogether. He's worked his way up through the ranks from sergeant to, investigations to lieutenant. And now the last 4 years he's worked as deputy chief in the position of operations, which is really the nuts and bolts, right? It's working on, setting up patrols and making sure that evidence is collected and put together properly. It's a whole, it really truly is the day-to-day operations that Rich has tirelessly had his hands in, and it's a lot of work to do so. His education with some of the trainings that he's done has been magnificent. You were a graduate of the FBI Police Academy. No, not Police Academy, it's the FBI Police, what's the name of this thing again? I should probably look it up. Yeah, the National Academy, thank you. It's a very, it's a very special training for leadership. Like 1% of, it's people actually able to attend this and graduate. It's really the best of the best for leadership in police. And I know that there was some concern raised about not having a bachelor's degree, but having talked to Rich, he's scheduled to have it completed by next year, so that's fine with me. I'll take the 25 years of experience and the FBI national, accreditation is into account, and especially that you're still working on it. But all that said, Rich was my, choice if, in fact, Terry would not be able to serve. So now we have two good things going on. Terry is able to serve, but at the same time, I think it's best to name Terry's replacement, because after Terry found out that Rich was going to be the person that we've put before us for consideration, Terry's like, you know what? August 15th is fine. I had an original desire to go to the end of the year, but I will, my retirement date would be August 15th. I'm like, that's fine. I still was pushing for all 4 years, but that's fine. I can't tell a guy to keep working when he's done, right? So I think that's fine. I'm pleased that you're willing to serve until August 15th, and actually I think that date is a good date. I think one thing that people don't always, realize inside the bubble of, the police department or even on council is that the public really highly respects you, Terry. And I think to just suddenly say, oh, come your birthday next week, what happened to Terry? He's gone? I think it'd be quite a shock, especially to the business community that has really been felt comforted by all the things going on with COVID, and I think Lockport Shield, Lockport Love, all those things. I think it'd be quite a shock if it just were up and retired next week. And so I appreciate the August 15th. That allows the community to embrace it and understand it and know that there's a transition in place and that there's a new person that you feel is the right person to carry on your legacy and your vision for the department and the community department, which I agree with. So that said, I just kind of wanted to give a little background to all the things we're about to present for passage here tonight. So I think that pretty much covers everything, what I wanted to say for this.
Mayor, could I just ask just a clarification?
Please.
So will this ordinance that is being passed, is this going to be for any future chief of City of Lockport, that they will be able to continue on after the age of 65?
The way we thought best to word it, right? Even though I believe the whole ordinance is not necessary, but because I think there was some concern.
I'm not sure if it's just
Yeah.
temporarily.
What we've decided
There's
to
a
do is
sunset clause.
coincide it with Terry's planned retirement date.
The ordinance automatically expires on August 15, 2021.
It does, okay.
So that way it, again, all the Ts are crossed and Is are dotted, and it coincides with Terry's desired date to retire, and, I don't know, move to Boca Raton or something, right? So, so hopefully that answers the question.
Yes, it does.
All right. Anything else? I see there were a couple comment cards about this. We might as well probably do it now before we get into it. Rich Erdwastaki, did you want to come up and say a few words? Rich, if you haven't met Rich, he's the gentleman I referred to earlier about who's just does seminars around for schools around the country for how to keep an eye out for predatory people on the internet and cyber crimes, and he helped train our police department. If you have never attended one of his seminars, you'd need to do it. The first thing you'll do is take your cell phone and smash it, and you'll tell your children that they can never have one. So
Monday night at St. Joseph.
yes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak. I spent 30 years in law enforcement. My forte is internet crime investigations when it comes to child exploitation, hacking, stalking, ransomware, things of that nature. When I retired in 2018, I felt a need to come to the Lockport Police Department where I reside and meet with the chief and Deputy Chief Harang, and I told them that I wanted to give back to my community. I'm retired now. I do have a company where I still teach schools all over the country and law enforcement, and also I train first responders how to ask for help with PTSD and addiction. And all those things that I do, and I still wanted to give back to set up a way that what we did in Naperville is train all the parents, all the kids, and faculty on how to keep their kids safe when it comes to online predators. So I wanted to bring this to Lockport for free because I wanted to give back to my community. So I met with Rich and Terry, and they said, fantastic, we'll make you an auxiliary, and all I really wanted out of the whole deal was an email so I can continue to train law enforcement. And so, yes, let's do that. So I trained every police officer, all the detectives. I sent to my training that I was having somewhere in the Chicagoland area. And then as I go places where law enforcement is, sometimes law enforcement does not welcome my services because they're either intimidated by what I'm doing or they think that I'm taking their jobs, and that's not the case. Well, we had to cancel my appointment, and we had to cancel my ability to give my services to the Lockport Police Department. But that did not sit well with Deputy Chief Harang and the chief. He goes, no, we're going to find a way to at least teach our children. And I hooked up with Jaron and Kevin Brock, and together the chief allowed all three of us to collaborate, and we taught in every school in Lockport. At the end of the first year, we saved kids from cyberbullies, we saved kids from sexting, we saved kids from self-harm and sextortion, and that was all to the vision of Deputy Chief Harang and the chief. So I submit to you today that the absolute best candidate for the next police chief would be Deputy Chief Harang. He has the vision. And what is more important than our most valuable commodity is the children of Lockport. And he has the vision. And he wants to collaborate. That's important. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Rich, appreciate it. And then, Lisa, did you have a comment?
Good evening. My name is Lisa Lovelace, and thank you for taking the time to listen to me this evening. A little background about myself. I've lived in Lockport my whole life. My father was raised in Lockport, and my grandparents owned one of the first homes in Homer Glen. My background as a business, I run a business out of Lockport. It's Kids Above All. I am a court-appointed supervisor of children who otherwise can't see their parents, and I mediate contentious situations in the court system. I have seen such a change in our community since Terry Lemming has been our chief. He has brought our community together. We were kind of a good old boys community for a long, long time. And that has gone by the wayside. Now, you know, people are held accountable for their actions at our police department, which is so very, very important, especially in today's climate. What we see on TV, what everyone's going through. Neighboring cities have made the news. You see their police officers on the patch. You see them on our national news. Lockport has not done that. Through COVID, our police officers did parades. They drove down our streets. They played basketball with our children. They waved to our community members. I find that so very, very important. They're up and down State Street all the time. I have heard that officers are giving people rides who may be intoxicated rather than just be accusatory toward them. I think that keeps our community safe. The gentleman who spoke before me, if you think that isn't in our community, folks, you're wrong. I'm dealing with a minor child right now. I promise you it's here. Rich Harang wants to make sure that everyone is aware of this. Our children are aware of it. We are not immune. There's a little kid right now I promise you. It's here, it's now, it's for real. Pay attention. We cannot afford not to not take Chief Lemming's recommendation. He has run our department in such a stellar manner. He has changed everything, and I believe that if he believes that Rich Rang is our next chief, we better listen. We should listen. He has brought nothing but integrity to our community, and I think for that, we should thank him first and foremost, but I think we should listen to his appointment. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Lisa. All right, so, like I said, we've got a few ordinances here that are all kind of similar, so why don't we just start them off, and then you guys can comment if you have comments on each one individually. So we're looking for an ordinance to authorize the chief of police to serve beyond the retirement age of 65 to August 15th, 2021. As we mentioned, it would sunset at that date. Looking for a motion to approve 210011.
I'll make that motion.
All right, J.R. Renee, any questions? All right, can we do a roll call, please?
Got it. Saban.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
No.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Karas.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, next we're looking for a motion to approve Resolution 21061, which is the reappointment of Terry as the police chief, as recommended by myself, to go to his date that he's asked to retire, August 15th.
I'll make that motion.
J.R. Renee, have a roll call, please.
Saban.
Yes.
Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
No.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Karas.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right, and lastly, so that we can have a good succession plan and that it's known, and that, you know, any kind of, I guess, transitions can take place comfortably over the next few months, we're looking for a passage of Resolution 21067, which would be the appointment of Rich Harang as the successor of Chief of Police upon retirement of Terry Lemming.
I'll make that motion.
Second it.
JR and Larry? Any questions? We'll do a roll call, please.
You got it. Saban. Yes. Bartleson.
Yes.
Lobes.
Yes.
Bergbauer.
Yes.
Galogly.
Yes.
Schreiber.
Yes.
Karas.
Yes.
Kostecki.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. I thank you, council. I know that there's a lot of information over the last few weeks, so I appreciate your support of Terry and Rich on this, and myself. So very good. Anybody have anything they want to open comments here before we close? All right. Then looking for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Renee, seconded by Joanne. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Can I get those cards, Steve?
Yes, I'll bring them to you.